My next guest is from a Grammy-nominated band who I'm a big fan of, Fontaines D.C. They have an album out called Skinty Fia out right now, which is just fantastic. Carlos O'Connell.
That's myself.
There you are. A lot to talk about with you regarding an individual as well as the band. First of all, how is fatherhood going?
I mean, it's just, I think it's just total joy. I think I'm quite lucky that I can, I have intense time and with her, and then I guess I'm away for a bit, but, I prefer this life, I think. I could have taken it sooner, to be honest, I mean, relatively young dad and nowadays, but I'm like, once I've felt it, I feel like it's just more life, more experience, more something more,
It says a lot about your character as well, because you embraced fatherhood and you were joyful about it.
Yeah.
So positive. Did you come from a very tight-knit family?
Not really, I mean, it's like, in a way, you could say tightness could be a sort of, a good way, in a way, good way to describe it. I probably felt like an odd thread in that knit, a different color. It was in there, weaved its way in, but it just stands out.
You have siblings?
Yeah, two, and parents, and my parents are still together and stuff, which is also like quite a rare thing, I think, nowadays. But I think as a young lad, I probably tried to stay, get away from family as much as I could. I left home really early and sort of paved my own way. Then nothing to do with anything anyone in my family's done. And
what was driving you? Because
well, I just found music quite young, and I found sort of like, I was a very angry kid, I had a lot of anger in me since I was really, really young. And that anger, I guess, in this, where I grew up, was sort of, misunderstood, and, it was just seen as like, sort of like rebellious and no reason for it, but it just came from a place of, I guess, discomfort, and like, feeling inadequate. I found music as a sort of escape, not escape, but a way of dealing with that. And I found music through a cousin of mine called Mark O'Connell. He's a few years older than me, and he was like me, half Spanish, half Irish. And he was like a hero to me, and like grew up just looking up to him. And then he passed away when he was 23. He was like in rock and roll bands all his life, and it was a really like a thing I admired my whole life, and then he passed away, and I just sort of tore my world apart, because he was sort of like the only one thing in my sort of like close knit family that I understood, and he was gone, and then I think it's just that sort of like solidified everything in a way, you know what I mean? It just felt like it was a way of communication with him, to make music, to play music, to listen to music, all of it. I discovered so much more music after he passed, because I sort of started digging into like his records and all, all of that stuff, and discovered a lot of the music that I love right now, still, like that was so many years ago. And there's 9 Inch Nails, Nirvana, Alice in Chains, all of these sort of 90s acts that all share sort of similar, I think, anguish at the core, and a sort of necessary a sort of a need for beauty, I spoke a lot there. Maybe I should start seeing my therapist again.
No, that gives a lot of context to what we were just talking about, being a new father. With all of that.
Yeah, that was the start. I guess that's what I just want my, for my daughter. I in a way, I just don't want her to feel the way I did, when I was a kid. And I feel like, to me, the only way to do that is just, I do actually think babies and kids are total, like, they are sponges, and like, I think they'll learn everything at the very start, and And if your reactions to anything are a certain way, that's going to dictate the way they're going to react to something. And to me, that's, you know, I sort of like, my initial reaction to anything was never joy, you know. And so that's what I want to give to her, you know. I want to react to anything, to everything around her.
It's
with
quite a journey you've been on,
Yeah.
living for so long without those moments where you can just be happy.
Yeah, totally. It's like always like a fight or something, you know.
Yeah. How much did you value the band's success, especially over the course of the last few years, being nominated for awards
Yeah.
and being showered with accolades and all those things?
I don't think enough, you know. I don't think I valued it enough. It's funny. It's just that same, you know. It's that same thing. I want to value it, you know, a lot more, but it's just that sort of, you know. It's what I'm saying. I don't really know that I react with joy to things that happen to me. Do you know what I mean? I love it. Obviously, you know. It's like, it's amazing. I'm blown away by it. You know. It's kind of like if I think we got here, it's mental. But I don't have that sort of what's the word? What's that thing that
Drive, motivation.
well, no, I definitely have. You know, it's like it's a thirst that just keeps going. You know, you just have to keep giving it. But
Not cognizant.
no,
But I know what you mean.
mindfulness.
Okay.
Mindfulness. I have none of that. You know what I mean? Like that's alien to me. That mindfulness thing. You know, and I'm sure like it sounds amazing. You know, my manager's always like, lads, if you could just see it the way I see it. It's like, I don't know, man. That's just alien, you know. He's colorblind as well, so I'm definitely not gonna see the same.
Have you caught yourself on stage in these large arenas with Arctic Monkeys and man?
Totally, man.
Wow,
Yeah.
where are we right now?
Yeah, those moments happen. You know, that's the kind of thing. It's like you get, you know, it's like it feels like something when it's happening. You know what I mean? When the performance is happening, or when a song is coming alive. You know, those moments is momentarily. You know.
Have you noticed that the brotherhood of the band has gotten tighter?
Yeah, massive. Yeah, massively. I think we took a bit of a break for the first time since things sort of kicked off this year. You know, it was the first time we found ourselves at a point where the future was a bit, you know, sort of uncertain. We didn't know, is there a new album? Are we doing this new album? You know, are we going back on tour? You know, it's like we always know what's next, you know. And this was the first time we were like, let's take a break and then just figure out what happens, you know. So I think that gave a lot of space for everyone, for everyone's head, for everyone, you know, for Grin to like do a solo record that he wanted to do, put these songs out and do that without sort of having the pressures of an imminent appointment, you know. And all those things is like, it's the same. I think that gave me the space to like sort of become a great dad, you know. And now I'm there, so I can only sort of like, you know, I can only go downhill now. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh no, like, man, you're just starting.
As a father figure, I can only go downhill now. Whereas I'm happy that I'm there rather than looking up a massive hill and just being like, oh my God, I have to do that and that as well. Like, you know what I mean? So it gave everyone the space to sort of do that. And when we've come back together, there's things feel new. We're seeing things from a new perspective, from a sort of a rearranged set of values.
Green mentioned that he's always writing.
Yeah.
You guys are always doing something. I imagine that there's already a lot planned for the next album.
Yeah.
But you have been sharing things on SoundCloud that I found very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, your Leonard Cohen tribute in a way.
Yeah. I mean, he's been one of my favorites forever, you know. And at the start of the tour, I found it hard, all the waiting around, you know. I'm not used to it, especially having a baby. You're busy all the time, you know. So I really wasn't used to it. I was getting bored, which is, you know, I hate being bored. I don't like having time off. Just, you know, I don't know. I just thought, you know, I know so many of his songs, and there's so many I don't know. I'm just gonna start doing this, and I think part of the exercise of just putting something up on SoundCloud as well was like something that I've really enjoyed. And I haven't done that many in the end because I started like sort of understanding the whole waiting around and figuring it, you know, and hanging out and stuff.
Your cover of Chelsea Hotel is just fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
It's it's a staple in my playlist,
Yeah.
as well as people who live in San Francisco.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know the relation between Janis Joplin and
What is the relationship there?
she used to live in the Haight.
Oh, really?
Right near Haight and Ashbury. She has a house, or
Right.
had a house, right? And
Amazing.
it's famous. So when
Yeah,
people
yeah,
make the
yeah.
pilgrimage,
Yeah.
they make a stop to Janis Joplin's little
Amazing.
place.
Great.
So,
I like that when he introduces that song at some gig in '88. It might be the first time that he's actually said it was about Janis Joplin.
yeah.
He starts like playing the chords and he starts saying, I wrote the song back in the 60s in the Chelsea Hotel. I kept seeing this woman at the elevator and she was beautiful. After a couple of days, I gathered enough courage to say to her, excuse me, are you looking for someone? And she said, yes, as a matter of fact, I am. I'm looking for Chris Christopherson. And he's like, well, honey, you're in luck. I am Chris Christopherson. It's amazing. I just love the guy so much, man.
Do you think you'll do? I don't know. It's hard to say. I'm sure you're just doing it just out of boredom right now. Do you think you'll do enough to maybe put something together as a proper release?
Well, I think it'd be cool, you know. I think I have so much, and there's been a lot of like love for it as well, you know. And it's like you realize, especially like people love Leonard Cohen. Like when people that like Leonard Cohen love Leonard Cohen, and there's so this connection, you know. And I do want to do. I have this like, I do want to do. It made me think, what would this be? I don't want to. I wouldn't release an album of anything like that properly. I don't really see the point in that. You know, I think it exists perfect in that sphere of SoundCloud as well. I loved the throwback of SoundCloud. It was like so nostalgic, you know. I love that it still exists. But I'd love to do a show, you know. I'd love to do a show where like there's a bunch of different singers playing the songs, and you know, do it like proper sort of like tribute show, kind of like have like do it in Ireland, have like the RT, the you know, the national TV concert orchestra involved, you know, something like that. Do something really cool and special, and make it really just about, make it really for all those people that have that connection with Leonard Cohen, because everyone is enjoying it in solitude right now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he's not around anymore, and I think it would be beautiful to sort of, you know, to see that, be a part of that, but also to like sit back and witness all the other people doing it, you know. And so I think I'm gonna see if I can do that. I'm gonna like, you know, I'm gonna see if there's space in the calendar next year and sort of do like a Christmas thing or something. That would be like, that's definitely
that would be
dream.
That would be so awesome.
Yeah.
I, for one, am voting for that. We're recording this, so others will chime in as well.
Hopefully, yeah.
You guys are just so talented.
I want to see the comments. I'm gonna make that happen, man. Make that happen.
You guys are just so talented. We just talked about Green releasing a solo album, and you've got this going on, and I'm sure all of this is just gonna somehow come together in the form of new music.
Yeah.
Do you guys know as to what is on to happen?
We're working on a lot of music as of. We got back together in the studio in London in June. Yeah, I say we had a break. We actually didn't really have that much of a break, you know. We were like, we missed each other, you know, and we were like, let's get in, let's jam, you know. And so there's just been loads floating around, you know. There's like a lot, which is good. Like over here, all that time as well has turned into, all this time before the show has turned into us having a few guitars in the backstage and just jamming new songs and stuff. So there's a lot. It's a very exciting. Oh, I'm sorry. It's a very exciting time for new music that's coming from all of us. Let's see what happens.
Your music is fantastic.
Yeah, so thank you.
Appreciate the time.
Yeah, thank you.
Great to meet you.
You too, man. Nice to meet you.
Congrats on the babe.
Thank you very much.
Carlos from Fontaines D.C. right here on B-Sides.